What you know, alibis? Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. It's Saturday, December 27th. Hope you guys are having a good weekend so far. Finally getting out this Melodee Buzzard backstory. There's much more where this came from. It's taken me a couple of days to kind of dive deep and look at interviews and things like that to get a better understanding of this woman, if that's even possible. But as you guys know, unfortunately, Melodee Buzzard was found deceased with multiple gunshot wounds after being missing for a couple of months. When Melodee was 6 months old, her dad died in an accident. After his death, Ashlee let his family see her for a few years, and his mother, Lily, said Melodee was a very lovable, well-behaved child and was always smiling. Now, Ashlee does have another daughter who is in her 20s, but that child was taken away from Ashlee when her daughter was small due to mental health issues. So let's go through a timeline. On October 7th, Ashlee rents a car, and Ashlee and Melodee both are seen on surveillance, and they both were wearing wigs. Later that day, Ashlee is seen leaving her home, driving that rental car. The 3-day trip went from Lompoc to Nebraska. Melodee's last known movements were between the states of California, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, Wyoming, and Nebraska. On October 8th, Ashlee switched the license plates from a California plate to a New York plate. October 9th, Melodee is last seen alive on surveillance with Ashlee on the Colorado side of the Utah-Colorado border, and investigators believe Melodee was killed shortly after that stop. For Ashlee returning home, she went through Kansas, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, Nevada, and then back to California. Investigators did say they noticed when she was fueling the car while on the road trip, she would back in an apparent attempt to avoid detection by surveillance cameras. October 10th, Ashlee returns home still driving the rental car. She had switched the license plates back to the California ones before returning the car. And of course, when Ashlee returned home, Melodee was not with her. October 14th, a school administrator reported Melodee's prolonged absence from school to police, and they asked for a welfare check. Melodee and her mom were seen in August enrolling her in an independent study program at the school, which she could attend remotely, but she had not attended at all this year. Police spoke with Ashlee, and she wasn't able to provide any verifiable explanation of Melodee's whereabouts, and a search of the home confirmed she was not there. And just a huge shout out to the school for doing their job. Melodee was said to have been homeschooled for the past few years, but the California Department of Education said there was no record of Ashlee submitting the required paperwork to homeschool her. On October 15th, the Santa Barbara police put out a press release asking if anyone has seen Melodee or had any contact with her for the past year, and if so, to reach out. There was also a search warrant executed at Ashlee's home. October 16th, Melodee's father's family was contacted informing them that she was missing. On October 17th, police released another statement saying that Melodee had been seen in August. They also praised the school for contacting them, saying that it helped them narrow down a significant gap in the timeline of when she was last seen. On October 18th, there was another search of the home. In a third press release on October 20th, they talk about the travels of Ashlee and Melodee, and also said that Ashlee remains uncooperative and hasn't given any information about Melodee's current location or her medical condition. Also on the 18th, the FBI officially joined the investigation. October 20th, KSBY talked to Lori Miranda, which is Ashlee's mom. Law enforcement had called to let her know Melodee was missing and asked when she last talked to Ashlee. She said it had been about 1.5 to 2 years ago. She said Ashlee's mental health had declined rapidly since the death of Melodee's dad back in 2016. She talks about one time she was planning to go visit Melodee, but got a call from the police saying they were putting Melodee with Child Protective Services. Lori went over there and said the house was a mess. There were raw eggs in pans. There was rotting food in the fridge that she thinks Ashlee was trying to feed Melodee. During this interview, she showed the reporter a telescope she wanted to give Melodee for her birthday. She said she's kept all the gifts she's bought Melodee over the years, and her psychologist thought it was a good thing because when she saw Melodee, she would know that her grandma had been thinking of her even though they had been apart. Now, Ashlee's family released this statement in late October. It says, on behalf of the maternal family of Ashlee and Melodee Buzzard, we want to express our deep concern regarding the recent news of her disappearance. Our primary focus is on finding Melodee and ensuring her safety. We ask the public and media to remember that this urgent situation is about finding Melodee, not criticizing her mother's mental health. While Ashlee's experiences may be a factor, we respectfully request that her privacy be protected and not exploited. The past 9 years have undoubtedly been incredibly difficult for Ashlee, and we hope this context encourages compassion rather than judgment. As reported, after giving birth to Melodee, Ashlee experienced the loss of Melodee's father 6 months later. We believe she may have been experiencing untreated postpartum depression, in addition to the grief from the loss of Melodee's father on top of her mental health struggles. All this while trying to do her best to hold it all together as a single mom with little resources. Our sole priority remains the safe return of Melodee and getting Ashlee the help she needs. We ask for privacy at this time. We will not be making any further statements. It's not our desire, nor do we feel it's productive to use the media or social media for anything other than bringing public awareness of Melodee's disappearance. We urge anyone with information to come forward and assist authorities. On October 24th, KEY-TV spoke to Melodee's aunt, whose name is Bridget Truitt. She said, Ashlee hasn't let us see her for a few years, and all of us have tried. But we never stopped thinking about her or loving her or praying for her. They also announced a family-led candlelight vigil for Melodee that was happening that next night. Melodee's paternal grandmother, Lily, works for KEYT and Telemundo as a sales executive. And speaking of her son, she said he was a really good dad, very good son. We used to argue a little bit like every mother, but he was a very good son, loved his daughter. Miss Lily took care of Melodee when Ashlee was hospitalized for several weeks back in 2021. And during this time, Lily was working with DSS to try and adopt Melodee because she was worried Ashlee couldn't take care of her. But Ashlee was discharged from the hospital before Lily finished the background check. Ashlee took the girl from school and left Santa Barbara County. They moved to Vandenberg Village, which is about 22 miles away from Santa Maria. She told Fox News that Ashlee was trying to cut Melodee off from the world, and Lily had not seen her since. She said, I didn't even know she lived there. She's been hiding from us, especially from me, because I'm the grandma and they gave her to us. So she's always been scared that I'm going to go and just grab her and take her and get a lawyer and fight with her. I don't want to fight. She did have a message for Melodee. If she's listening, we love you. We're here for you, and we just want you to be happy. Call me. There are numbers on the TV so you can call, and I will come pick you up. She held up a photo of her son holding a newborn Melodee, saying, This is my baby boy. He's gone. And she was just a baby. I know your dad is watching you from heaven. I love you, baby. She also requested that Melodee be called Melodee Buzzard Meza. October 24th, Melodee's paternal aunt, Elizabeth, was on Banfield and commented on the surveillance photo of Ashlee and Melodee at the car rental place. She said they hadn't seen her in 4.5 years. So when they last saw her, she was only 4. But she said that nose definitely reminds me of her dad, so yeah, it does look like her. Elizabeth's husband, who is the brother of Melodee's dad, said he did get into contact with Ashlee at one point and said, hey, if you won't let us see Melodee, at least let her grandma see her. They did see her after Melodee's birthday, and grandma had presents for Melodee, but Ashlee also came, and Elizabeth said you could tell Ashlee was mentally unwell. She had buzzed her hair and was wearing a hoodie, and she said Ashlee and Melodee didn't stay long. Ashlee told grandma, I can't do this. She also said that last verified photo that's been circulated everywhere of Melodee was from around 2 years ago. And when CPS contacted her about Melodee being missing, she was under the impression Melodee had been adopted out. On October 30th, there was a follow-up search at the house as well as a storage unit and the rental car. During the search of the home, investigators found an expended cartridge case, and in the rental car, they found a live round of similar ammunition. Fast forward to after Melodee's body was found, the ATF compared casings recovered in Utah to the ones recovered in Ashlee's home and the rental car, and they were all linked. Melodee had been shot with a 9mm. October 31st, Melodee's paternal aunt Elizabeth and Melodee's half-sister Karina were on Banfield. Karina is in her 20s. She recalled going to Ashlee's to ask about Melodee after Melodee had been reported missing. She knocked on the door and waited about 30 minutes before Ashlee came out. Ashlee didn't answer any questions about Melodee, but said all this had been hard on her mental health, and she didn't appreciate all the attention she's getting, and the fact that Karina was knocking on the door when she didn't want to answer. She said normally Ashlee has no emotion. She's just very straight-faced. Also around this time, Ashlee had been seen packing a U-Haul with boxes and appliances. November 6th, a man named Tyler Brewer reported that he was held against his will at Ashlee's home. He had actually been there several times before this incident. He's a paralegal and also an acquaintance of hers, and he offered to help, thinking maybe she had a family law issue about to come up. He also knew Melodee had been taken from Ashlee in the past. On that last visit, he was inside the home when, according to him, she told him things she must have regretted saying, like where Melodee was and who she was with. But he said a box cutter was produced by Ashlee. He asked several times to leave, but she wouldn't let him. He also said the doors had several locks on them. Now, Tyler was on Banfield later and went more in depth about what happened at the house that night. He said after his second visit to Ashlee's, a detective pulled him over and said he would need to report back anything he learned about Melodee to them, so he did. On that last visit, he said Ashlee told him this story, which is absolute BS, that she went on the road trip at the instruction of people she barely knew to drop Melodee off with them in Utah. What was the reason? Ashlee said she had some outpatient surgery coming up and Melodee needed to be away from her for at least a month or two for Ashlee to get back on her feet. She told Tyler she knew nothing about these people and she had no contact information, which he thought was weird because Ashlee said she had been communicating with them. She said the phone number had been changed and the people told her when they got home, Melodee would start calling her. She told Tyler they met these people at a zoo and the couple had a daughter Melodee's age and wanted a playmate for her. He said Ashlee didn't want to say too much because she told Tyler she thought the house could be bugged. Ashlee said the location for drop-off changed because the couple was paranoid of the government. They were scared they were being spied on and being followed. So according to Ashlee, the location changed several times. He also said Ashlee had started deleting all of her online accounts because she was worried about being traced. She started deleting her Amazon account, her email account, changing her bank account, things like that. He also said Ashlee had lined up these photos of Melodee on the couch. There is video showing Ashlee taking down the missing posters that were put in front of her house by neighbors and people coming by. He said that she had all of the photos lined up of Melodee on the couch, and he called it a little shrine. And oddly enough, there was a back pillow. You know, the kind that has the big back with the little arms? That's what he's talking about, I believe. And that was dressed in Melodee's clothes. An orange hoodie, and at one point, he said a pair of pants. She told Tyler she did this because she missed Melodee. But towards the end of this last conversation, she started saying that she couldn't trust him. He wasn't a paralegal, and she said he was going to jail for pretending to have an office and that he was working as an undercover officer. Now, Ashlee recorded this without Tyler's consent. Brian Enton had this audio on his podcast, so I will link that below. But I'm going to play for you the clip where she is accusing him of these things. So let's listen now.
And I can't trust you when you're lying. You're flat out lying. You're a really good liar. Like, Tyler. Tyler.
I'm definitely not
Tyler,
trying to
be quiet and listen, please. Look at me. Like, I'm an intelligent woman. I'm 40 years old. You deal with legal stuff. Like, who are you kidding? Tyler.
I can only give you my perspective.
Listen, I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
I understand.
You need a reality check. If this is on media news, like news talk shows, they're going to be seeing you, they're going to be interested in you. You have to understand that I'm aware, whether you want to admit it or not, you want the attention.
I don't want the attention.
There is absolutely no way in hell that you are not bipolar or have an extreme issue if you don't realize what you're doing is false advertisement and there are real legal ramifications I don't know how you honestly are not worried about being put in jail.
I will have to leave at this moment.
Since you're leaving in an uncomfortable way, I want the keys to my house
Yeah, they're right there.
and the storage.
Right there.
Nobody else has keys, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. No one else has keys.
Tyler, genuinely, if you've been here, genuinely to help, I appreciate it. The lies are a lot. And especially if you are genuine and trying to help in your own way, you should be very concerned if they recognize you, because anyone else, like running for district, it doesn't add up. I'm not threatening you, but I'm saying, like, I'm not threatening you at all. I'm trying to help as a friend because I feel like it has to be bipolar or something. But I don't think you're grasping the level of online things that don't make sense.
No, I understand where you're coming from. At this moment, I would like to leave. And I'm more than receptive if you want to call or text me.
How do I send you the money of the receipts for
I'm
the
not
copies?
concerned about any of that. But I'm still very receptive. Should you want to call me or text me, but I've done nothing intentionally to be deceitful.
Tyler said another thing Ashlee had him do was to go make copies of her house and storage shed keys. He said she was preparing to be arrested and wanted him to empty her house and the storage shed if she did get arrested so she wouldn't lose her stuff. Now, Ashlee had been seen loading things into a U-Haul. Tyler said the things in the boxes was clothing that belonged to Melodee, and Ashlee said she had outgrown them. She was also seen getting a lot of boxes delivered while under surveillance. He said that Ashlee has food, wigs, toiletries, pretty much everything mailed to her. He said Ashlee told him she was addicted to shopping, but he couldn't understand where she was getting the money from. So I've researched this, and all I can find is that she lives off of Social Security payments. And it sounds like possibly survivor benefits for Melodee, and that would be around $1,100 each month. And as you know, when a parent passes away, up until a certain age, I think in California it's 22, children get a monthly check from the government. He said Ashlee told him people were comparing her to Casey Anthony, and she allegedly told him, "At least I'm not out partying." Tyler said he told Ashlee people were saying either she trafficked Melodee or killed her, and he asked which one it was. He said Ashlee started fake crying but would not answer the question. He also said when he would question her, she would say she's getting triggered, and he also said the word triggered was one of her favorite words. On November 7th, Ashlee was arrested for a charge of felony false imprisonment related to this incident with Tyler. And November 12th was her first appearance for those charges, and she pleaded not guilty. Prosecution asked she not be released, saying that she was a flight risk. She would wear wigs to disguise herself and also switched out license plates. But against the prosecution's request, the judge did allow Melodee to go home with GPS monitoring and other rules like she couldn't possess a firearm and not contact the alleged victim. On November 20th, she had her preliminary hearing, and the judge dropped the charges after this recording between Ashlee and Tyler didn't match what Tyler told police. That was the recording we just listened to. On December 6th, police responded to a call from a couple traveling in a remote area of Wayne County, Utah, near Caneville. They were taking photos when they found Melodee's body. December 8th, the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office were notified of those remains being found. They were told the victim was female and had multiple gunshot wounds to the head, but due to how decomposed the remains were, they would need to perform DNA analysis to confirm it was Melodee. December 22nd, the FBI crime lab confirmed through DNA to Ashlee that the remains were in fact of Melodee. December 23rd, Ashlee was arrested around 7:51 a.m. Later that morning, investigators were back at the home and they were seen bringing out brown evidence bags. A neighbor told KSBY the arrest was quick. They banged on the door with something metal and then pried open the door to get inside. She was formally charged on Christmas Eve for first-degree murder with special allegations, and that is lying in wait. Melodee's grandmother, Lily, told the LA Times, "The detective called me this morning to let me know they found the baby, and the baby is with her dad. I knew he was telling me that the baby is dead." There also was a press conference later that day, and Santa Barbara County Sheriff Coroner Bill Brown said this level of criminal activity is really shocking given the calculated, cold-blooded, and criminally sophisticated premeditation and heartlessness that went into planning it, and then the ruthlessness that went into actually committing the crime. He said they have recovered a significant amount of evidence that clearly indicates this heinous crime was committed by Ashlee, the person Melodee relied on and trusted most in the world. Investigators and allied agencies worked simultaneously on multiple fronts. Some were maintaining round-the-clock surveillance on Ashlee, while others were focused on collection, analysis, and verification of digital and forensic evidence. And he said detectives faced deliberate efforts to prevent them from finding Melodee and uncovering the truth. Special Agent Patrick Randy from the FBI said our collective hearts were broken. After the press conference, her attorney said there were statements made that could impact Ashlee's presumption of innocence and the possibility of fair and impartial jurors being selected in that county. He said they will prepare any and all defenses for Ashlee. When asked if the case would be tried in Santa Barbara or Utah, they said the intent was formed in Santa Barbara prior to going on the road trip, so she will be tried in California, and they have not established a motive. Her first appearance was on December 26th, and she pleaded not guilty. Her attorney actually put the plea in for her, and there were reactions from those in attendance, and the judge had to address that. Prosecutors will not seek the death penalty. They're going to opt for life without parole. The judge also issued a gag order barring police from discussing information outside the public record at least until January 7th. Melodee's paternal grandmother was in attendance, and according to Nancy Liu from News Nation, her grandmother said they are working on funeral arrangements for little Melodee. So some backstory stuff on Ashlee. Back in 2017, she filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. She had 5 accounts in collections, as well as a small claims lawsuit for unpaid debt. The most recent lawsuit was filed by Capital One in May. She's also said to have a very bad relationship with her mom, Lori Miranda. In fact, Tyler, the one who said he was held against his will, said that Ashlee told him she would rather Melodee be in a group home or in foster care as opposed to her own family. And there was an article written about Ashlee and her mom in the Santa Maria Times back in '94, and the title was Lessons from the School of Hard Knocks. Back when Ashlee herself was 9 years old in June of 1994, her and her mother became homeless after leaving Orange County to go to the Central Coast. And the reason? To get away from Ashlee's abusive father, who her mother said was physically, emotionally, and verbally abusive. He also abused drugs and would have very violent episodes where he would do things like smash windows. After they left, they moved to different places and would often stay in hotels. Ashlee's mom told the publication they arrived in Santa Maria with $40 and she had no job, no car, and no home. They lived in the Good Samaritan shelter in Santa Maria for a short time before moving into an apartment. Lori told the newspaper she was so scared because she knew nobody and just felt very uncomfortable. And Ashlee was part of the school district's outreach program that helped homeless students. When Ashlee was in the 11th grade, she filed a petition to be emancipated from her mom, but the judge did not grant the petition. The judge said Ashlee submitted nothing to the courts about her income and expenses and noted she also still lived with her mom. Melodee's half-sister, Karina, talked to Criminally Obsessed, great podcast, I'm going to link that in the description, and said that their dad was 40 when he died and she was 23. She had had breakfast with him that morning and then went to work. And during her shift, she got a call telling her he had the accident, and she said they were very close. She said their dad loved Melodee, and he was just really excited to have a new baby, and she meant everything to him. In fact, Melodee's half-sister has a daughter who is just a year younger than Melodee. When she first met Ashlee, she noticed she was just very quiet. They all went to Six Flags together. She had heard Ashlee had mental health issues, but her understanding was when her dad and Ashlee first met, it was under control, but over time that changed. She isn't exactly sure what Ashlee's diagnosis is, but she did hear at one point Ashlee tried to self-harm by taking pills. Karina's grandmother, Lily, was told by Ashlee that Melodee was in the custody of a friend of Ashlee's who ended up adopting her, and this friend did not want the paternal family to have contact with Melodee. She said Melodee was in foster care a couple of times due to Ashlee's mental health issues, but was given back to Ashlee every time. She didn't even know Ashlee had Melodee back until Child Welfare Services called to ask her questions like if she knew where Melodee was or if she had contact with Ashlee or Melodee. She also said she didn't get to see Melodee much. The last time she saw her sister was in November 2020. And she also said her grandma was the middle person with Ashlee. After she was called and asked about whether or not she had seen Melodee or Ashlee, it broke on social media that Melodee was missing. And that is how she found out. She did go to Ashlee's house the day after. Child Welfare called her and she asked Ashlee, "Where's Melodee?" But she really didn't answer the questions, and when she answered anything, it was limited. She did say everything that was going on with her was messing with her mental health. Ashlee did not let her inside the house, and she said Ashlee showed no emotion. After the not guilty plea, Melodee's grandma, Lily, talked to the press, and she was shocked that Ashlee pleaded not guilty. And she said, "You heard the people in the courtroom." Her next scheduled court date is January 7th for a preliminary hearing, and the gag order will most likely be discussed again on that date. So that's what I could pack into one episode. There's a lot more. I'm finding a lot about her past online, and I'm just a little hesitant to report it because it's not verified. So I'll avoid that for now. I'm definitely going to follow this one very closely, and we will see what happens. I do have a feeling that mental health is going to come into play very strongly in this case. However, there's a lot of premeditation and a lot of lies and a lot of covering up, but you can also be very mentally ill and culpable. And I think that's going to be the case here, because when you lie and cover things up and make elaborate stories, no matter how crazy they are, you know what you did was wrong. We will see how this unfolds. That is it for now. I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening, and we will see you soon.